1 o'clock. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Josh, can you call the roll?
Yes. Phyllis Buechler. Christine Cherry.
Here.
Rob Fuller.
Here.
Ron Merritt.
Here.
Lisa Olson.
Here.
Miranda Schuler is not here. Tammy Ware.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. We have, we're only missing one, so we're doing well that way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Did.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any changes or additions that anyone would like to see? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Same sign? Got it, Lisa. Thank you. All right, motion carries. All right, the next is take a look at the minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Rob,
Second.
by Tammy. Any discussion? All right, everyone in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All right, let's move into library comparisons. And you guys have put together some numbers.
Sure.
Ask that you go through them, and I guess you can take turns.
Sure. I'll start. So we sort of found a document where this was gone through last time that we did this, and so we just updated that document into this year, and so these things that were looked at the past are now updated for this year, and mine is going crazy here. You want to go, Carrie? I'm trying to find my stuff. Oh, okay. Here it is. I found her. Okay, cool. Starting with patrons, you'll see a breakdown of the areas where they are from. At the Minot Public, we have three main categories, which are Minot, Ward, and those are those are pretty self-explanatory there. Minot, a city, and then the greater Ward County, and then Region 2 is our category for the other 6 counties that we serve. Do you want to talk about your numbers?
Okay, so ours are separated out by bookmobile stops. So Bell, which we no longer stop at, but still have some patrons listed under them. ILL is our interlibrary loan, where we only have one, just because that's who we check it out to. Kenmare is everybody who comes to the Kenmare branch library. Kenmare School is a bookmobile stop. Minot patrons were originally under library, and then we started transitioning them to Minot. So we have some under both, but they are ones who utilize the library here in Minot. Other than that, so that's going to be a mixture of Ward County patrons, Montreal County patrons, depending on the bookmobile stop. Ward Monthly is going to be our senior centers and our juvenile detention. So things that are checked out on a monthly basis, but they're not a bookmobile stop.
Anything about the patron breakdown?
Just real quick, if I can ask. So basically looking at the Ward County numbers, am I reading this correctly where you said if it's Minot and library, so there's about 4,300 patrons that come in? Is that how I'm reading that? And the rest are bookmobile stops?
The rest would be bookmobile except for anything labeled Kenmare is our Kenmare branch. So
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Chairman, for clarification, is this for a year account? Or is it just what you guys have in the database?
it's what we have in the database.
Correct.
So how would you break that down? Like, how many visitors per month or a year-end number?
That would be, I'm not sure how Minot Public tracks it. We track,
'Cause you get
On
a
the book-
report every month, so.
yep, on the bookmobile, they have a clicker that they click when everybody comes in. And then in the library, we physically mark down as each person comes in. So then we keep track that way. So that doesn't go off of how many people are registered. It's just how many people come in that day.
So this is the right report that I'm looking at that you were.
Yes.
And just making sure I understand this again, both of these numbers that we see, the 17,000 and the 14,000, that's a monthly number, right?
For my numbers, those are registered card holders.
Oh,
So
okay.
we have this many who are in Minot, this many who have an address outside of Minot, but in Ward County, and so on and so forth.
Sorry, misunderstanding what that was. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
they're a little different.
So, Chairman, in reality, we don't have a huge overlap of patrons. Yeah, yeah.
Without looking at exact names, it would be hard to tell, and unfortunately, that's considered private information, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it would
Absolutely.
be hard to say. Righty. And then we can go to a comparison of the different programs. Again, these were what was talked about last time, so we just added them again to kind of show what we do and the differences between services at the different libraries. Any questions on these? And then going on. Oh.
If I may, Chairman.
Yes.
One thing to recognize with programs too, we do work very closely together, so we make sure story times are not on the same day. So we'll use an example. In December, I contacted Minot Public and said, can you send me when you guys have your programs for January through May? And then we took that and we looked and we went, okay, they don't have programs on these days, so let's see if we can do programs on those days or at this time, so that we aren't interlapping and we are getting something for the community to do every day.
Right. Next item.
Sure. Going on now to the services. Kind of similar thing, just to point out what we do and differences. We both do things like printer access and things like that. ILL we both do, and then meeting rooms. Similar. Minot Public has more things as we have study rooms and different programs. The tool library, a video game library, board games, lamination, 3D printing, roll printing, things like that. Any questions on services?
Have any questions when you look at it? At the list, you're providing things that a library would provide for their patrons.
Alrighty, and then and next we have a door count, and this is maybe Robert asked about how we count and such, and so this is the yearly door count for last year. 21,902 for the Ward County, and then then 94,701 for Minot Public. Does your number include Kenmare? Or no?
I believe it does.
Does
I believe
include
we
it.
included Kenmare in there.
Chairman,
Yes.
Carrie, does the number include the bookmobile people on and off?
I would have to go back and look at my numbers to make sure. I want to say we probably did include the bookmobile in there.
Okay.
This is just, these are total counts, people through the door. Doesn't
Yep.
matter if they came 3 days in a row, just a typical like attendance type number.
Yep.
Okay. So between the two, you're over 100,000. Yeah.
Again, it's people through the door, not that the bookmobile isn't a door, but the
Yep.
door into the building is completely different than the door onto the bookmobile.
Well, and it's going to look at hours open. Minot Public is open more often than we are, or longer than we are, so there's that in there as well.
All right, move on to staff. Unless there's any other questions from anybody? Guess we could get a clarification on that. That would be nice, just verify. 'Cause it's nice to know the bookmobile, just the total number. That would be a nice number to know.
Righty. And then the last thing we have on our on agenda for the comparison is the titles of the staff that we have, and numbers and such. Questions on there?
Chairman,
Yes.
is the total on the bottom of that column, is that just for Ward County's staff? I don't see a total on Minot's,
Oh, I did not add. I might not know. I can.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm probably,
Okay. So the minor added to 1,156,960.70.
Okay, thank you.
and the Ward County number includes Kenmare staff as
Yes.
well as.
Yep.
And bookmobile, I see.
Yep.
So that's
It's going to be
total.
staff as a total.
Okay, very good.
Chairman Merritt, this is Lisa Olson.
Yes, Lisa.
I'm just requesting everyone speak into the mic because I can only hear those that are speaking into a mic. Thank you.
Fair enough. You guys have to put your mics down too. I had to get closer to mine.
For clarification, I think what we were discussing is, it looks like Ward County has 9 staff members for a total of 335,180. And does the city have 26 staff members for a total salary of $1,136,960?
Got 10.
Ward
You
County
got-
has 10.
10, okay. Thank you for that clarification.
All right. Any other comments about the staff? And you're just sharing numbers with us where things are at right now.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and move into the budget process, if you wish, and you can kind of go through how you went through all the comparisons that we asked you to do.
Sure. So this was a difficult process as we talk about merging two entities. There's a lot of things that we couldn't know and wouldn't know until it happened, or kind of best guesses that were made, and sort of working on thinner margins, and so it's hard to necessarily be totally confident in anything. However, this is our best guess that we both came and worked towards. And so there are two sheets on the document provided, a merger with two buildings, a merger with one building, and then and then there is a line for what it would look like if they were all a city staff, and what we would look at as county staff. And Carrie, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
And so we will start with the two buildings as the city staff. A couple notes about how these lines work. If everybody does their budgets just a little differently, and so we aren't always going to have necessarily a budgeted things in the same way. In the city line, we don't have a separate retirement. It's kind of it's kind of built into our totals of the staff salaries. They don't Award County does budget for workers comp or unemployment, and so there'll be a couple holes for things like that.
Nope. Josh, if I can, for Lisa, since she's looking online, this is the last 2 pages under merger information, right?
Yes. Yeah. Merger info. Yeah.
And thank you. I am looking at the email that had been sent out previous, so I can see them. Thank you.
So just a kind of hitting the big things about questions people may have about this. So a couple of increases. Ward County did want to increase bookmobile, as it is going to get more use in this scenario, and so if that gets more expensive as it gets used more. They wanted to budget more for the bookmobile replacement, as that I believe it was just that it's getting more expensive.
With more usage, it would be, you'd need a new bookmobile faster.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
we'd want to grow that fund a little bit faster so that we have the funds available.
And then the line reimbursement to the general fund. That is something that the library that the library pays to the city for their services, and so we can't really change that. It is just something that the city gives us. So it's going to appear on a city budget, but there's no Ward County equivalent. And then
Did we want to mention that technically that reimbursement to general fund on the city side, if we were county employees, wouldn't disappear. It would just be adjusted not in the library budget. It would just be dispersed to other budgets. So it wouldn't be a savings. It just wouldn't be in a library budget.
Correct. Yeah. Taxpayers would still have to pay it. It would, but just a library wouldn't have to. A couple of the cuts where we were able to make the line item line item automation. That is sort of subscriptions that we have, and things like that. There was some savings. There might be some more savings in there. We're not quite sure. And then this is kind of adjustable as some things are sort of being able to be subscribed to or like unsubscribed to, but we didn't want to like change a budget. Right now, we're just giving sort of a look at what it would look like, and questions on this one.
So just for clarification, is there a savings, and if so, how much, to do the two buildings as city employees?
So my calculations here was a savings of $242.24. So it was not a lot. However, things could be adjusted. We don't know exactly what it would look like at that books line. If a board would say you have to spend less, there might be more savings there than we had a thought. It kind of is one of those things where there could be some wiggle room based on what it would look like.
For clarification, that's annually?
Yes, these are based on this year's numbers.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So I guess Josh and Carrie, just looking at this, there is no savings if we leave two buildings in place. Is that what you're telling us? I mean, to be straight, right?
Correct.
If we're gonna do a merge and we're gonna leave two buildings in place, there's really no point in doing it because it's the same thing.
A minimal.
Yeah,
At
okay.
minimum, correct.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
And you did the same comparison with it being city employees or county employees, and it was very small.
Correct.
Okay, so let's move on to one building.
Okay. Okay. So don't have to do too many explanations this time, as a lot of the same things do occur again on this budget. But there is more opportunities for savings, as we do not have to pay for two buildings. You would just be paying for one building. But a note on this is we were kind of lost with kind of direction of the committee was kind of what it would take to bring us into one building. We don't quite think it would be totally possible at the current site to move everything over and everybody over and still have room for our services as we have now. And so just a note that this is what it would look like if we could all fit. We can talk about that, as well as, lack of a place for a bookmobile and things like that. But this is kind of just, in sort of an ideal world where it could work, given directions that we have. Starting at the top, things like salaries would look similar in the first budget. It's kind of the same. There is a possibility as people retire. If we were in one building, possibly there could be sort of through attrition there. Could be savings on staff. We were told to keep staff. However, if they had retired, there could be some ability there. Insurance numbers, that's going to look the same. So so utilities go down. Do have some savings on the automation, since we all will be using the same licenses and things like that. Bookmobile and stuff will stay the same. Office supplies and things like that do go down a little bit because we are sharing the same ones now, sharing the same printers and things like that. So there's going to be some savings there. And the rest kind of still is there from the previous budget. So any questions on the one building?
Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I guess in looking at this, you guys, when you took the numbers and you put them together and you said, okay, you know, we're gonna put the two things together and I'll go to automation. So they're paying 15,000, we're paying 144,000, the combined totals are 159, and you guys put it at 148. So you're telling me the overlap in the licenses and the different things we use would only save about $10,000 a year, give or take?
That was what we had. The sort of the savings there would be if like Ward County had like subscribed to the same things that we do, then we wouldn't have to pay for two licenses. They don't have a lot of things that they do that for.
Okay.
So so it doesn't really save anything. There's a couple thousands here and there because of one license of like ebooks and such, but most of that is provided by the state, and so any savings there is kind of minimal, as that's what we pay the state, and they just charge us a little bit.
Okay. Now, how about with, I don't see anything on here with regards to maintenance and general upkeep of the facilities and things like that. Obviously, ours is gonna be, the city side is gonna be more expensive, but is there savings there to be had on the county side or anything?
So on the county side, all of maintenance and stuff falls under facilities. It doesn't fall under the library. So there isn't.
So there's a number
across-
there that we don't have, that we don't really know
Correct.
what we're saving or what we could save type thing? Okay.
Well, and it wouldn't necessarily save because the county would still be paying for it. They're still paying facilities. They're still using it.
Unless you put another renter in that space or something, right? Then that person would possibly use it or something like that?
Correct.
Okay.
If it's an outside tenant, then we could charge for that. If it's our own,
And then with regard to the general fund reimbursement, so we pay, the city, the way we do it is, you know, hey, they're using legal, they're using this, they're using that, so we reimburse 122,000. What does the county's reimbursement look like for the library right now? I know it's not under the library's budget, but like, do you have an idea of what they charged you last year? Or was there a chargeback that you're aware of?
Marissa, would you know for sure?
Hear me? Really, the only things we charge back on are, I was gonna say, the utility item, even though we wouldn't necessarily be charging the library for their share of utilities, the county's still gonna have to pay those utilities. So there might be a saving for library, but not the county overall. Am I missing something though? Insurance share for the building, we do bill you.
Yep.
But if there's a legal issue that comes up and the county attorneys have to do something, you're not charging them back like the city has been doing
We
here?
haven't really ran into
Okay.
that. I can't think of anything else that we've had to reimburse.
HR, we don't
No.
charge back to the library.
No, and like the facilities is just part of the facilities budget. We're not charging back a share of that. Is there anything with Kenmare that I'm forgetting?
Nope, because Kenmare utilities come out of the
Out of
city
theirs.
account in Kenmare.
So those are the only things I can.
Okay, thank you. So I guess I would push back then a little bit on that one, Josh, where you guys say that one's not really gonna save anything. If we were to merge together and put it under the county, all of a sudden, there's $122,000 right there that taxpayers aren't gonna have to come up with, whether it be Ward County taxpayers or City of Minot taxpayers, because they're not doing the same chargebacks that we were doing.
So my understanding of that would be that that's like all built into the city's budget, and so like the city does not have an attorney or an HR person just for the library. We use their stuff they already have, and that money goes to pay those people. There might be some other things that they put in that, but if the library were to go away, those people would still be there. There would still be a cost to them, and unless I am wrong with that, that would still be a cost to the taxpayers, just in a different way.
Well, those costs are already paid, Josh. The people that work for the city are being paid for their work with the city. And
Yeah.
I've argued against this reimbursement
Yeah.
back to the city from day one.
It's weird.
Because that's basically you guys paying city staff back for doing city work, and I disagree with that wholeheartedly. So they're already paid to do their job. Again, I'm not saying whether they're paid adequately or not. I'm not getting into that.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is they're paid to do the job, and so that 122,000, 123,000 a year would essentially disappear. Like if the county isn't doing the same thing that the city does, where they say, hey, Rosa and crew, you helped us with this legal thing. We need to give you back money to pay you back for doing this for us. That 122,000, 123,000 disappears. So
Chairman Merritt.
Lisa?
I questioned this as well, so I'm glad that Alderman Fuller has brought this up, because at first glance, I thought it would be a savings as well. But I did confirm with our finance director this morning that amount, that 123,000 roughly, would be redistributed to other city departments. So it would not be realized as a tax savings to the taxpayers in Minot. And in addition to that, I would question if the county took over the running of the library, would there be an anticipation that perhaps there would be a charge because they would be adding so many employees? I know that no one has a crystal ball, but I could see that could possibly happen. But just to verify that other 123,000 would not be a tax savings.
We could put you on the spot again. We're not doing that in any other department that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Even though
that's
I mean,
good.
the employees are all getting paid just like at the city. We're just not charging it back per department that I'm aware of.
No, and I can't speak for Mr. Lakefield on how it's being done then. The only thing would be kind of similar is human service zone, where we get an indirect cost reimbursement type thing. That's a little bit different, where the county is getting reimbursed from the state for cutting the checks for human service zone. We don't do that with any other departments. Like, we cut the checks for the library bills, but we don't charge back anything on that. That being said, if it was it kind of depends on how a merger would be too, if it's a separate entity or if it's a county entity. I'm thinking most of the time that's being done though too is like the way we're levying it. Because we only levy a certain amount under the library's levy. So some of those things are just, I'm budgeting to pay the whole expense in the general fund, but I'm also budgeting that revenue from the library to offset some of those costs.
Chairman?
Yes.
I do have a tendency to agree with Lisa that if all of a sudden the county, goes from 10 employees to 30 plus, I would think they would have to start getting some reimbursement back, because I don't know if you've ever done even just simply payroll, but when you add that many new people to it and you get the retirement and all the state benefits and whatnot, it's a lot to keep up with. And I could see where they could have to hire on an extra staff to take care of that much more payroll. And that doesn't include maintenance or any of that other stuff. So I tend to agree with Lisa that I think if the county isn't doing it right now, for us to take on all of what Minot is doing too, I think the county would be forced into doing something similar, maybe not that high of a cost.
Just an accounting methodology to as a way to track an expense per department. And you can either do it or you can do it, you can budget for the employees. If you need an extra employee for payroll, it's going to come out of the HR budget. Won't be charged to the library budget, but it'll still be a county expense. That would be an additional expense. So it depends on how you look at it. But so to your point, Rob, if it did take more work, we would have to add the employee or add that to our budget. But it wouldn't be a direct charge to the library necessarily. I mean, you're going to know why we did it and that it is an expense, but we just do our accounting differently, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just two quick questions. How many employees does the county currently have? If I can just ask, I just rough number if you got it.
It's around 300.
So if you added 30 more employees or 26 more employees, do you feel that you would have to have the other departments pay you or reimburse them for doing the work?
HR does all the payroll, so I don't necessarily know how much time that would take. I would say on the other side, paying the bills, I don't know how many checks are cut for library bills, but I mean, that increase for us would maybe equate to an extra at least half person or something like that, depending on the volume of something like that, because I have 2 employees that
Okay.
handle that mostly.
And then, thank you very much. And then just the other question or point that I was going to make to Alderwoman Olson's comment about whether that money is redirected or whatever, that's actually our decision to make as the council. If we decide that we're going to merge these libraries and something's going to happen with them or whatever, the council can make the decision that that reimbursement isn't going to go anyplace else. We're not going to feed it to any other departments. So, you know, it may be a savings, it may not be a savings, but right now, is if we merge the libraries, in my mind, at least on the city side, if we made it a county library, that's going to go away for the most part. Now, does the county maybe have to hire another half person or something to do something like that? Potentially, but that's, again, I think if we merge these libraries, right, and we say, hey, county, we want you to take care of it, we're going to give you 7 mills a year as our share to help you run it and operate it because you're still helping the city of Minot and everything like that. In my mind, that, you know, right up front, are you going to have an immediate savings? Maybe not. But in years 2, 3, 4, 5 down the road, that savings is going to continue to grow as you see more efficiencies between the 2 libraries. All the time knowing, you know, even if you want to increase the bookmobile and it to go more places and do more things to save more money, again, you know, there's efficiencies that are going to happen there that we aren't contemplating or that we don't want to count into these things. That will save somewhere, you know, again, just doing quick calculations, looking down the road, looking at utilities, looking at overlap in merchandise, looking at equipment, looking at only one facility. There's savings in there of somewhere between $200,000 and $500,000 as it goes down the road, right? Again, you're going to have that initial hump where it gets a little bit higher, but then it's going to start to settle in. So, I mean, I don't think we can discount the fact that maybe the county isn't doing it now or the city's doing something differently now and say, hey, no, that's not going to save us any money. I was doing things like this long enough that when you combine and merge businesses or entities like this, there are overall savings. And again, not that I'm anticipating people leaving, firing, or anything like that, but as employees leave too, you know, through retirements and through other things, there's an opportunity there, you know, for the merged entity to say, hey, you know what? The way we sit now, we don't need to replace that position. And again, so there's more savings that happen as time goes on. So I would just encourage everybody not to be short-sighted and say, hey, looking at this, there's no savings, we can't do this. Because I believe wholeheartedly there is a lot of savings that we as a group can see over the course of the next 3 to 5 years.
And you guys alluded to that in your report, you know, that if you combine into one facility, that there's going to be a bit of an overlap in employees. I don't know what your situation is at the city, if you're fully staffed or not, but if you are, and you add 4 more employees into the same building, at some point, you might be able to say, okay, if somebody quits, we're not going to replace them. And, you know, or somebody retires, we don't need to replace that position after the combination happens.
I think my concern in looking at this, and we talk about merging in the people and going into one building, is how much is it going to cost us to refurbish our building so we can fit these people in there? And does that, I mean, maybe down the line we do still save some money, but initially, how much is that going to cost us to redesign our building so that we can actually fit these additional employees in and these additional services that we're taking on? Because we can't do that right now. We do not have the space for our current employees.
Well, that's a discussion. We're going to talk about the space
Yes.
analysis and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that ultimately is, you know, why we're all here. And that's a question for our community as well. You know, do they feel the same way that all of us do? Or, you know, where do they stand on this? Because I know there's a, you know, there's a discussion about a $5 million renovation of the Minot Public Library, and is that, you know, is now the time for that when we're under budget restrictions? We're at a 3% levy caps and things that, you know, our legislature put in place to keep us, you know, towing the line on property taxes. And, you know, that's a discussion that we need to have, but this might not be the right time for that project in our community. So we need to have these discussions, but our citizens are telling us, you know, by what we end up putting together in this committee in these discussions, and they're gonna get to vote on it and let us know what they think. If this is the time to, you know, to do those or not. Let's move into the space discussion, since that's
Sure.
next on the agenda.
Sure. So I can start us on this one. So Rob had asked us for the 2018 study that Brian Ackerman had did. And I did provide comments to sort of update it, as this was done 8 years ago now, and there has been changes to our building and different things like that that have changed in those 8 years. And so I wanted to do some updates to it so we know what's still available and what's off the table. A couple things to note is they did a note about things in the children's room, and that has since been remodeled. So everything that he talked about there is now totally different. And a note talks about our makerspace area. One thing he didn't talk about was that the ceilings are lower in that area. There can be bookshelves there, just not as big as one would think. It mentions a coffee shop, and which is nice, but you know we have a lot of needs other than that right now. So I don't think we should spend too much time on that one, unless somebody likes a coffee or something here. But the library, the library conference room, which is mentioned, is now our tool library. You know, if we were to get rid of that, then we would lose that service. That's an option, but it's also a service that would be going away. Bookmobiles storage. Right now, we don't have any place to put it as it currently stands. We do have, you know, there has been talk before about putting a garage on our property that we have. We have been denied that because of flood control. They're supposed to build a wall that goes right through there, and so anything that we build could possibly just be torn up in a couple years. And so if we're going to build something, it might have to be off-site.
Josh, just a
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think I asked this before, but
Sure.
what are the long-range flood control plans for that area? And
Oh, well,
maybe you
let's see,
don't
that's-
have one yet.
That's
I
MI4,
think-
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken, and we're still dealing with the railroad. They don't anticipate that whole thing will be done until around 2030. Sorry about that. That's MI4. We're still working with the railroad because there's some things that they're having to finalize and finish on where that track is
The
going to go.
track is
Yeah.
very close to the
And
back
so
of
there,
your
from
building.
what I remember hearing, I believe that isn't going to be done until around 2030. So, I mean, obviously, there's flood control stuff that's going to go in and on around there, but I don't know that, depending on where you were talking about, Josh,
Sure,
with the
yeah.
garage, right? I don't
Depends.
know, you know, that there's necessarily anything. Here's another option just in the interim, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we renovate and do things across the street at City Hall, if we merge into one building and the Bookmobile needs a place to park, well, there's a garage right across the street that's pretty, you know, that the PD is using for certain things right now, but as we renovate over there, may become available for the Bookmobile to park in the
Gotcha.
interim while we're, you know, if there's a process where we got to wait to build or do a garage or whatever it may be.
And I know it maybe seem inconvenient, but you can still keep parking it where you're parking it now as well, and that would be fine. It's not that far away.
Sure.
It's not right next door, I know, but at
Sure.
least it does have a home and a garage, so.
Yep, it was more just responding to the study at space analysis that where he had suggested putting it will not fit the bookmobile.
Gotcha.
A couple other plans he had to take out a patron lounge and to repurpose a meeting room that would, you know, lose us in different capabilities we have to host programs or provide services. Just so you guys know that, not that we can't do it, but you know, just so people know it. Also, he had put the Friends a book sale room like way out in where our south room is, which is the basement of our new addition. Which, if we still got donations where we do now, it would sort of be a long haul to get things there, which is not possible. Just saying, it's very awkward. Just to point that out. You know, just with, you know, talking with Carrie, with that, you know, possibly something could be done that's more updated that would help us better. But you know, there's a cost to that, of course. So just so we know that, and that is my comments on this.
Anyone have any thoughts or comments about what Josh shared?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess in my mind, you know, and Christine, I appreciate what you said, right? We did do a space needs analysis. And we looked at, you know, what things we could do to make the library more convenient for people that come in and to offer more things and do that. And Ron, I think you kind of nailed it, right? Right now in the budget climate and everything that's going on that we're in, we had realized on the library board that when those came in, we couldn't afford to do any of them at this point, right? I mean, like, it would be great if we had all kinds of money going on, everybody did, and we could do everything we wanted to do, but we just don't have that. You know, and I understand that if we were to combine the libraries and say move them over to what is currently the Minot Public Library and try and force them all into there, it may be tight for a little bit. But again, you know, is that a reason not to look at trying to save the people of Minot and Ward County some money by combining these two services? Is that what we're saying? We're not going to do that because it might be too tight or too inconvenient for everybody involved? You know, I have a little bit of a hard time with that because our job as commissioners and council members and everything else is to make sure we're spending everybody's money the correct way. And with two entities like this, even though one of them is quite a bit smaller than the other one, I'm not quite sure that we're being as efficient as we can be for everybody involved. And so again, while it may not be ideal at the moment we do it, down the road, it may prove that we're able to do certain things. You know, again, if the city of Minot, for whatever reason, if we come to the conclusion that, hey, we're gonna merge these, the city is gonna say, we'll give the county their share, you guys move into the building, we will keep and maintain the building for you at a long-term lease, so you don't have to worry about adding those expenses. How does it hurt anybody in here? How does it hurt the library patrons? How does it hurt anybody other than it's gonna start to have some cost savings for both entities over the long run? You know, and again, if we could build a brand-new library on the site where we could put everything in there and we had everything we want, we'd do it in a heartbeat. I think we all know that, right? We would, but we don't have that ability. And what we want to do is try and see if we can save some money. Now, this was broached in 18, as we all said, and I think at that point, the big hangup was the county was worried that Kenmare may not get serviced as it was, the bookmobile may go away and those types of things. But in this instance, if I say, hey, on behalf of the city, we want to move the Minot Public Library to Ward County. You guys maintain and control everything. We'll give you so much money every year to help you operate and maintain it because it's still within the city. How is that a loss for anybody in Ward County or in Minot? Can somebody explain that to me?
So the last time this was discussed, it come to a pretty heated discussion just before it went to the city council and the commissioners. And it was pretty much the city was gonna run everything and have the majority control, which the majority of Ward County citizens do live within the city of Minot. But the city of Minot residents they were going for full control of Ward County assets. And they were gonna be managing it. Now, if it's Ward County that manages it and it's turned over to Ward County, I don't think any of the Ward County patrons would have a problem with that, because it's still our county commissioners. Like, we are all Ward County, but not all of Ward County has been paying that bill.
And that, to your point, that's exactly what I was getting at. You know, I mean, there was consternation before that people in the county may lose service. So if we can do this and the county maintains the control and the city gives over mills every year to help you guys run and operate it, because again, like you said, it is part of Minot still, and it's
Right.
all part of Ward County. That's the right thing to do. We figure out the building where, you know, so you guys don't have to take on that cost as well, right? We help you maintain that. We give you a long-term lease for $1 or whatever it is. I mean, we'll figure all that out. But again, there's ways that we can do this and save money. It may not be the most ideal way at this exact minute, but it is the thing to do, and it is the right thing to do, I think, for most of the patrons within the county and the city of Minot.
Lisa, you have a comment?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So unless I'm wrong, and this is my second time through this, we are taking on a lot more authority than has ever been given to us. The purpose in this committee is to determine if we should bring this to a vote of the people. So we are fact finders, and we report back and say, these are the savings, this would be the cost, and we would like it to go on the ballot and have the people vote. We don't have the authority as a library board or as a council or a commission to merge those libraries. Only the people do. And so right now, I think we're stepping out way to the end of our skis when we don't have the authority to do that. Right now, we need to find the facts, and if we determine that we want to take it to the council and commission to get permission to put it on the ballot, then that's what we should do. But after that, our authority is dead.
Chairman,
Yes.
are we to the point of our next steps? Are we to that on our agenda?
Yes, I think we're having that discussion right now, Tammy, so thank you. So
And-
go ahead if you have a comment, and then I'll get to you, Rob.
Tammy, did you have more?
That I was just trying to move us forward because I feel
Yep.
like that's where we're all at, is what is our next step? Are we taking this to the vote of the people this next election voting time? And if so, how do we word it? How do we present it?
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Okay, and thank you. And to Lisa's point, I wasn't saying, excuse me, the way it came out, it probably did come that way. I'm not saying we have the authority to do it. But if we're going to take it to the people, we have to have a plan. We have to say, hey, this is what we're anticipating doing, or this is what we would like to do. And so all I was doing was giving a suggestion that said, hey, if we went this way, that would be the way we maybe look at it or whatever. But I was in no way, shape, or form implying that we could sit here as a group and mingle them together. So again, I
Yes,
just
I
wanted to
didn't
be
take
clear.
it that way either,
Okay,
Rob,
thank you.
but point well made.
Okay.
So I guess to your point, Tammy, we've,
Do we want to break it down into little steps? You know, how do we want to present this to the people? I agree. It's not, we don't have the authority to do anything as this board, as two library boards. It is up to the people of how they want to proceed. I know the majority of our rural members seem pretty content with where they're at. This keeps coming back to the commissioners and the city council. And so I guess I feel that it's a city issue. It needs to go to a vote of the city citizens.
anyone else? I know it's like, you guys did a great job putting all of the information together. You really did. And your jobs are to run these libraries to the best of your ability. So I don't fault you for any of, I mean, you're in a tough situation and you're having to present numbers that are, you know, looking at maybe the future of your facility, your future jobs, all of that. So it's a tough spot. I think from this point forward, it's kind of on the rest of the committee to take your information and do with it, you know, what we need to do. And from Lisa's point, our authority is to put a recommendation together, you know, to go back to the commission and to the council. And this is what our group, at least at the majority of the group, feels is the right direction to go.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, one thing, and again, not that I don't believe what Alderwoman Lisa Olson is saying, but maybe we need to have our city attorney and the county attorney reach out to the attorney general and the state library board and find out actually what we can and can't do and how it needs to proceed, so we are all aware rather than just kind of guessing or spitballing on that. Because again, if it does have to go to the people, then we need to know that. But if it doesn't have to go to the people and the commission and the council themselves have the authority to do that, we need to know that as well.
Go ahead, Marissa.
Obviously, I'd run anything by our lawyers too, but I do think to merge and create that entity, it'd have to get a resolution from the county and the city, and then it would go on the ballot. So I do think, based on, there is an AG opinion out there in that Century Code. I think they were both in the original email Carrie Ann sent. Based on that, I think that is what we would have to do.
So we've gotten that opinion, thank you.
I do agree with Marissa that it, by resolution, can get on the ballot, or the only other option possible is if a group of Minot residents or Ward County residents petition to get it on the ballot. I think that's only two ways that we can proceed, but we should get clarification.
But ultimately, we need to put a recommendation together if we're gonna move something forward to both entities. Okay, what do we wanna move forward? I mean, we're gonna look at all of these options and either pick one or none. You know, we pick an option and move it forward, or we do nothing.
Do we get the clarification that we need before we jump ahead on what our recommendation is?
Yes, I think we need to sit down and go through numbers again and, you know, get some verification on any savings we have these recommendations. Do we see anything else? Do we get clarification on
Taking it to a vote.
accounting methodology and, you know, the chargeback and all of that? And see if we can get an actual number. You'd have to also commit to, you know, at some point through attrition, there would be a cost saving on the employee side. If we combine into one facility and we end up in the city facility, we might not get agreement with our two library directors on that, but that's something that we need to have a discussion about and see if that's possible. Yes, Carrie Ann.
I can reach out to the state library. And then I can also reach out to both Steph and Rosa to see if they can reach out to the Attorney General. What exactly do we want to ask the Attorney General?
Our options to take it to vote, if we need the resolution to each, the city and the council, if they got to be matching resolutions, but that it has to go to a vote of the people, just for clarification.
Josh, go ahead.
Thanks. I also would like to know if the votes would be a separate thing, or if it would be a combined vote.
Okay, good question.
Agreed?
Rob, go
And
ahead.
then for me, I guess one other thing, because Marissa, when you came up, you said that we would be joining the two entities. But realistically, we wouldn't be joining any entities. We would just be handing it over to Ward County, and Minot would be going away. So do you see that, if hearing it that way, do you see the same thing from the Attorney General?
I think in that case, it probably would be two separate questions. My question would be with that, what if, with the resolutions, what if one board passes it and the other one doesn't or something? Then what do we do? I don't know that.
Then we're back to where we were in 2018.
Right.
Yes.
But those are good questions to get clarified before we move forward. And I think we should.
So if it was, I'm just theoretically speaking, if it was on the Minot ballot to dissolve, is what you're saying, to dissolve the Minot Library or relinquish control of the Minot Library to Ward County is the direction you're kind of going?
I would think it would be either to relinquish control to Ward County or just say, hey, we've come to an agreement. The Minot Public Library is going to cease to exist as an entity, and it's going to roll into the Ward County Library. However, whatever wording is adequate or best.
And my other question, I don't know if this is an AG question or not, but would be, if it's moving over to county authority, and currently we have the authority to levy 4 mills, that puts us about halfway short of funding to do that at the full county value. So I don't know if it would also have to be a question of levy authority, or,
To your question, Marissa, I think if we were to go down this route, the city in this agreement, right? We would basically have an agreement that, hey, we're gonna let you guys take control, and we're gonna pay you so many mills a year that we levy. Because it wouldn't go away for us, right? We would just hand that money then to the county, whether that's 7 mills or 7.5 mills, which is roughly $1.9 to $2 million. It just hand it over to the county and say, here's the Minot share of the operation of the library, use it well.
And that would be
Does-
more of a,
and does that have to be
almost a
clear in the
merger
ballot?
instead of a.
Yes.
You're,
Well, I don't think it's a merger with anything else. I think it's dissolving, but we're still handling our tax authority portion of it, because I think it would just be an agreement between the county and the city, right? Because the county doesn't have the authority to levy more for the library, more than 4 mills, right?
unless it goes to a vote.
Right. So, and I mean, to save that a little bit, again, the Minot levy that we do already for it every year, like, why would that need to go away? It would just be an operating agreement that, even though you control it, because it is mainly for Minot and Ward County, that we would continue to help you fund it. And
So another question that this discussion made me think of is, yeah, if the county goes up to the 4 mills, does the city's home rule charter allow them to collect so many mills? So like, say if Ward County is already collecting 4 across the board and the city wants to continue, can they continue under the home rule charter collecting 3 to go towards the extra cost? Does that make sense? Like this, does the home rule charter allow them to collect just a portion of what they were? Because somehow Ward County hasn't been collecting on Minot residents. So if we want this to be a goal, I think Ward County as a whole, if they're getting the control, needs to collect from all those taxpayers, but then supplement with income from Minot's home rule charter, if they want to keep all those services.
well, yeah, exactly to your point. So if it goes to the county, right, then the county, that would be covered under the county property tax portion of it. It would be distributed amongst everybody in the county, instead of right now, it's just distributed amongst everybody in the city. And then we would make up whatever difference, with our mills, no matter what the number comes out to be. Obviously, smarter people than me are gonna sit down and figure that out, and we'd just sign off on it. But I think you're absolutely right. It would look like that.
I guess we'd need to hear options on what's easier.
well,
Seems
and on
like
the
the
levy-
easiest thing to me would be to leave the mills exactly the way they are now, moving forward. And, the county continues to levy what it levies, the city levies what it levies. And that would be, instead of trying to completely change the levy process. But
I don't know how it would help the city of Minot residents, though. If they weren't seeing some sort of tax savings overall, I think they're the ones that need to see the majority of the tax savings.
everybody wants to see a savings if we can find one.
Right, how do we
By
do it
combining this
fairly?
together, whether it happens or not. I mean, that we need to really look at this and come
Yeah.
up with, we need to look at the accounting and the employees and all of that. And we need to have a number that will actually come true.
Chairman Merritt,
Yes, Lisa.
I do have another question. It goes back to authority a little bit too, when we're discussing whether or not we would bring this, bring a resolution or what have you. The way that I understand it, and I'm not going to pretend to be an attorney, but the way that I understand it is that would come from the library boards, because they have authority given to them through Century Code that would probably give them more authority than either the council or the commission. So I think that's a legal question that needs to be answered too, because I think that the council and the commission, our only role is to say, yes or no to putting it on the ballot. I think the rest of the request comes from the library boards.
We'll look into that as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa.
Chairman.
Yes, John.
And then I would also, learning from what happened in the Jamestown area, maybe I would like to look into what we can put into about making sure that both entities keep up with their funding requirements. Jamestown had a combined, and then one entity decided to not pay their side, and then we don't want to be in that area.
Correct. We'd have to have a good agreement.
Chairman. So that's where I do like where Rob's heading with, just county has control, is if the city didn't collect or couldn't collect for some of the mills, at least Ward County would still have the authority to collect the 4 mills. So you wouldn't get into the city didn't uphold in their end of the bargain, because the county would still have control to at least do theirs. If the city milled, it would just have the ability to supplement what the county is trying to do. Then how do we combine the 2 library boards would be another question. I mean, I know that's up to the voters, but how we present what that library board is might be the
another-
difference between it working and not.
Other part of our committee work is to come up with a recommendation for what that would look like.
Right.
Maybe it needs both of the boards to have input, and
For at least, yeah, usually when you start a new board, they're on staggering terms. Well, they've got a pre-existing board and we've got a pre-existing board, but I don't think that Minot residents would be really happy if we just, everything is the Ward County board and Minot's not getting good
no,
representation
you
on there.
need representation for sure.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman and Tammy, I think what it would look like is, imagine the planning commissions.
yes,
So there's 2 city council members that sit on the Ward County Planning Commission, and there's 2 Ward County members that sit on the City Planning Commission. And I think it would be something similar along those lines, right? It's a
Should be.
merged entity, so you'd maybe take a couple people from the Minot Public Board.
Yep.
And a couple people from the other, and maybe have one at-large member, or whatever it is decides, or however we come up with it. But I think we could use that model that the planning commissions use
Yes.
to kind of look at something like that.
Yes, go ahead, Carrie.
I do have the 4 mills down to ask the AG. One also being because since right now Ward County does not include the city of Minot for levying, I don't know if we move to where Ward County was doing Ward County as a whole, not taking the city out, if the city would still be able to do any levying, because then city residents would be taxed twice.
we really
I
need
wanna-
clarification
yeah.
on that, Carrie, because
That's why I wanna clarify that.
affects like the Kenmare Library branch too, because their home rule charter allows them to collect, and I know they collect some for the maintenance of the building. But if Ward County is tapped out at 4 and they can only go to 4 together, it would end up tapping out Kenmare's.
Then as far as how would the board work, how would funding work, we have copies of Morton Mandan's agreement, we have copy of James River Valley's agreements. We can create an agreement from that would actually specify all of that, and that's something Josh and I could put together for you guys to look at.
If you guys want to throw us together an idea, please do.
Thanks for volunteering that.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
this is Dave Lakefield, and I just wanted to point out one thing here too. We need to be very careful talking about everything in the terms of mills. In today's world with the cap is in dollars. The value of a mill is going to change over time. So if we look at everything in terms of strictly a mill, we could find ourselves in having some difficulties where we're locked into a mill for something, and the value of that mill can increase over time or decrease. But it can put us in a predicament with our 3% cap calculations too.
Good point.
Nice point.
Thank you, Dave.
Just real quick though, Mr. Chairman, Dave, with regard to that, wouldn't we want to look at it as mills though instead of dollars for inflationary purposes? Like as things increase, we want the funding that we would give to them if we were to go that route to increase with that. So wouldn't we want to do that?
Dave turned his microphone off. There you go. Yes, go ahead, Dave.
Well, where I'm going at is, if we state it in mills, and let's just say the value of properties in the city of Minot go up 10%. Now your value stated as mills also goes up at 10%. However, our ability to raise taxes to cover that obligation are capped at 3%. So now the obligation under the agreement goes up at 10%, and we can only add 3% to our levy under the cap calculation. So we're going backwards. We'd have to take that money from someplace else.
Okay, thank you, Dave. That's a good point.
We can come up with something to address that. Go ahead, Carrie Ann.
Chairman, when Josh and I are working on the agreement, we can also send financial stuff to Dave and Marissa to make sure that they are okay with the wording.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Any other comments? I think we need to do some homework and then meet again. I don't think we're that far away. It might take some time to get the financial information together and the opinions if we need them. That does take time. Maybe we can work off of what's already been given to us, though, and maybe we'll be surprised.
And just like to say thank you to both of you guys for all the work that you've put into this and all the questions that you're answering and asking. So we greatly appreciate it.
No, it's not a perfectly comfortable situation for any of you, but we do very much appreciate it. Okay, time to set another meeting. How long do you think you need?
Attorney General opinions can take quite a bit. It depends on how fast or how busy their office is. I mean, I've seen an opinion take a week. I've seen an opinion take 2 months.
So can we do a tentative the 4th Tuesday in April? And if that opinion's not back, then we'll postpone?
Are you looking at the 28th of April?
Yes.
That would be a Tuesday.
Yes, would you like to keep it on Wednesday?
We
We can keep it, we can do the 29th.
The 29th or the 22nd would work better for me. I'm not available the 28th.
Either one of those would work for me. 22nd? How about you guys?
I could do either as well.
Let's try 22nd at 1 o'clock, and we will stay in touch. If we're not ready yet, we'll postpone it. We can do some kind of a poll for everyone.
Chairman? I'm just saying that I will not be available in April or May. I am going to be on a vacation first part of April, and then I am a substitute teacher that's filling in for a teacher for the rest of the year. So if you're still meeting in June,
You're back in
Call
again.
me.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you.
thank you.
Maybe you could make this part of your class and do it Teams.
Yeah, you could just bring your
You could have your
class.
students in the background.
Okay. So April 22nd at 1 PM is our
Yes,
next meeting.
that sounds good.
Okay. I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.